Welcome everybody to our webinar. We're talking about SecureCloud and Mylio Drive Plus today and how it works with Mylio Photos. What we're going to get into is what it is, obviously, and who it's for, whether it's a good fit for your workflow or not. So hopefully by the end of the session, you're going to have a good grasp of what Mylio Drive Plus is, SecureCloud, and how all these pieces fit together to help protect your library. Today, I'm joined by Lori Rubin and JC Figueroa. They're going to be helping out in the chat, and they'll be answering questions as we go, and then they'll save up, I'm sure, a few for me at the very end that we'll cover live together. So today's session is going to help you walk away knowing why Secure Cloud makes sense and how to set it up. We'll discuss why offsite backups matter, what you already get with Mylio Photos Plus, what you add if you add Secure Cloud. We'll discuss privacy and encryption. We'll discuss SyncCollections, which is how you can pick and choose what to upload to the cloud, which is something very unique to Mylio. We'll go through a few real-world workflows, and of course, how to add Secure Cloud to your account. Before we dive into the presentation, I do want to let you know that this is being recorded, so if for some reason you need to jump out early, or you just want to revisit this later on to refresh yourself, it will be posted in our community within 1 to 2 business days. And you can always go and rewatch it there and ask questions, comments, and so forth. We also have a chat and a Q&A. Both of these places are ways to interact with us. The chat's great for connecting with other attendees and just general comments about the presentation. If you have a specific question that you want us to address, the best place to put that is in the Q&A pod. Just makes it easier for us to keep track of those and make sure you get an answer. We'll do our best to answer questions in the chat as well, but sometimes that chat gets going really, really fast and things get lost and buried. So we want to make sure that we answer all of your questions. So if it's really important that you get an answer, please make sure to pop that into the Q&A. I also want to let you know that we will be having a giveaway during this webinar. One lucky person will win 1 year of a 2 terabyte Secure Cloud subscription. That's $143.76 value. So that's going to be at the very end of the presentation. You do need to be present to win. So if you're able to stick around for the whole thing, you will have a chance to win a full year of 2 terabyte Secure Cloud. It's a great, great gift. So hopefully you guys are excited about that. So let's go ahead and jump in and talk about the problem that we all face. And that's that your hard drives are going to die. Laptops can get lost. Life happens. Most people don't think about backing things up until it's too late. And I can tell you from personal experience, this has happened to me. It was many, many years ago, but I've had data loss myself, and it's really, really agonizing. You don't know what you're going to be able to retrieve. It can be very costly to get your stuff back if you get it back at all. And so we want to put systems in place to help protect ourselves, because hard drives inevitably will fail. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. In my own experience, I would say most hard drives that I've purchased, they're either going to fail in the first few months or they're going to last probably somewhere between 3 to 5 years. Much beyond that, you really should be considering replacing your external hard drives and knowing that your computers are going to start wearing out too. I know it's disappointing because we spend so much money on this equipment, but we do need to have plans in place to keep these things refreshed because they may fail. But that's also where backups come in. We don't have to be quite so stressed about these things because we know we have multiple copies of our data in different places, and having that automated can really lift the load and give you a lot of peace of mind. One of the things we really emphasize here at Mylio is the 3-2-1 backup rule. And this is 3 copies of your data on 2 different types of storage with 1 offsite. People are often really good at the first kind of 2 parts of this, number 1 and 2, which is having at least 2 copies of your data. Maybe you have 2 versions, 2 vaults with Mylio sitting on your desk. And that's great. That's a really solid foundation. But the part that a lot of people miss is that offsite copy. If you have 2 copies sitting on your desk, if something happens at your home, some sort of natural disaster, or your house gets broken into, and somebody takes all of that equipment, everything is gone. So something can happen that impacts that single location. By having an offsite copy, you're giving yourself that disaster recovery. So if something happens to that primary location, you have something else that you can rely on. So having at least 3 copies of your data is really, really important. Whether that's with Mylio or outside of Mylio, there's a lot of different ways to accomplish this, but 3-2-1 backup is super important for anything that is important to you and precious on your computer. If it can be your work files, it can be your photos, your media, all of that. So keep that in mind as you're setting up systems to protect all of your data, not just your photos. With Mylio Photos Plus, if you're a Mylio Photos Plus subscriber, you have what we call Mylio Drive. This syncs optimized versions of your photos across all of your devices, and it aids with setting up new devices and keeping things accessible and easy to browse when you're away from your home computer. So optimized versions are small versions of your photos. They are not originals, and Mylio Drive is not a backup. I do want to make that very clear. It's just a syncing service that helps make your browsing experience much more pleasant. Mylio Photos Plus does give you that Mylio Drive to sync those optimized versions included with your subscription. You also have support for local backups, which are vaults. So if you choose to add an external drive, you designate it in Mylio as a vault. Mylio is going to automatically keep an entire copy of your library on that external drive. And so that's great. You can have 2 vaults sitting on your desk. There's your 2 local copies, completely automated. You don't have to think about it. You're not having to drag and drop anything. It's taken care of for you. And Mylio, obviously, we know is great for browsing anywhere. You can pick up your phone, your tablet, whether you're on the sofa in the other room, across town, or across the world, you can browse your entire photo library. That's what you have with Mylio Photos Plus. But the piece that's missing when we talk about the 3-2-1 backup, again, is that offsite copy. And that's where Mylio Drive Plus comes in. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit more about Mylio Drive, which is those optimized copies. Because before we add Mylio Drive Plus, we want to go ahead and enable Mylio Drive. And like I said, this is included with your Mylio Photos Plus subscription. So if you don't already have this enabled, I do encourage you to take advantage of this. It puts your optimized images in the cloud, but it is fully secure. It is encrypted. Mylio can't see your stuff. The only way to decrypt those files is with a device logged into your Mylio account. So setting up Mylio Drive is a very, very low risk, high reward thing to do. So to do that, you're going to go into Mylio Photos and you're going to go to the dashboard, which is over here on the left. You can see the little dashboard icon, it's a little speedometer. You're going to choose devices. And then up at the top, there's going to be a button for Enable Mylio Drive. If you don't see that button, it's probably because you already have Mylio Drive enabled, and it'll be listed down below in your device list. So you're going to click on Enable Mylio Drive, and it's going to pop up and say, hey, here's what it's all about. And then just click Enable Mylio Drive. The next screen is going to give you the option to add a storage plan, which is going to be SecureCloud. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. If you don't want to go any further with that just yet, just click maybe later and you're good. If you're ready to go ahead and add storage for your full quality files for that offsite component, you can go ahead and choose a plan, but we'll get into that more here in a few minutes. So let's talk a bit more about Mylio Drive Plus with Secure Cloud Storage. This is our cloud and it's encrypted, private, and gives you that offsite protection of your originals. It's also powered by Backblaze, which is one of the industry leaders in cloud storage, enterprise level cloud storage. It's very, very well respected in the industry. You might use it for other things personally. It's a great service. But they have a great cloud storage, and that is who we have hosting this on the back end. So you know that your stuff is being put on very secure, very good servers. What Mylio Drive Plus with Secure Cloud adds to your Mylio Photos Plus subscription is that offsite storage for originals. So like I mentioned earlier, you can, with your Mylio Photos Plus subscription, get Mylio Drive, which lets you put your optimized images in the cloud. What Mylio Drive Plus with Secure Cloud does is it gives you the option to put your full resolution photos, videos, and documents. The other thing to differentiate is Mylio Drive is just for photos. Mylio Drive Plus lets you do photos, videos, and documents at full resolution. You also have the option with Secure Cloud to use it as a vault. So you can say, I want to put everything in my library in the cloud, which is great. Or if you don't want to put everything in the cloud, Maybe you just want to put the most important things because your library is really big and you don't want to have to put everything in the cloud. Maybe you're concerned about the environment and the use of data centers. Maybe you just only want to have certain things in the cloud. You can use what we call SyncCollections to choose what's stored offsite. So there's a tremendous amount of flexibility. Most other cloud storage is kind of an all or nothing. You have to either say, I want to put my stuff in the cloud or I want to keep it all local. Mylio lets you choose. And that's really, really important. The next thing I want to emphasize is that it is in private and encrypted. So all of the files are encrypted on your device before they're uploaded, which means we at Mylio never see your stuff. We're not using your stuff to train AI. Only your signed in devices can decrypt them. And our cloud provider can't even read them because they're encrypted. So it's very, very secure. It also allows you access anywhere, anytime to those full resolution files. So if for some reason you are traveling and all you have with you is your tablet or your laptop, you didn't want to bring hard drives, but you need to have a certain set of files for a client, for a friend, to share with a family member, and you want to get those full resolution files, you can get them, download them to your device locally directly from Mylio Drive Plus. It's really, really convenient. And it's also nice to know that you have that backup component, that offsite copy. So even if something happens at your home, you have that offsite storage. It also means that you don't have to keep your home computer running. So Mylio is great if you don't have a cloud option set up. It does allow for peer-to-peer connection, so your devices can talk directly to each other. But if your home computer gets turned off and that's where you have your vault and all of your originals stored, you can't then access those while you're out and about. You're stuck with either what's in Mylio Drive for the optimized images, or if you don't have that, you might just be looking at thumbnails on your phone or your tablet. So it's really helpful to have those full-size originals available. One other thing to mention is that Mylio Drive Plus and SecureCloud, it's built on cloud infrastructure, which is designed for syncing, not just backup. There are a lot of other services out there that are great for backing things up. They're slow. They're meant to kind of run in the background, whereas Mylio Drive Plus and SecureCloud is meant for constant use and sync. It's a different kind of infrastructure that works really, really well with Mylio Photos. All right, so just a quick comparison between Mylio Drive and Mylio Drive Plus. Mylio Drive is for syncing. This is the part that comes with your Mylio Photos Plus subscription. Mylio Drive Plus is for protection. So just to kind of clarify this, Mylio Drive gives you optimized photos. Mylio Drive Plus with SecureCloud also lets you put the optimized images. But in addition to that, with SecureCloud, you get full res images, you get documents and videos, and you have that disaster recovery option. You cannot rebuild your library with just Mylio Drive because you're just going to have lower resolution copies. This is what's going to allow you in a disaster to be able to rebuild your library if something happens to your main equipment. So let's talk a little bit about privacy encryption. One of the things that's great with Mylio is that your files are encrypted before upload. This means that anything that's sent to SecureCloud is unreadable to anybody but you. Only your sign-in devices can decrypt it. So later on, if something horrible were to happen, you get a new computer, you log into your Mylio account, and only that logged in Mylio account on that new device will be able to access your photos. So that means your stuff stays protected end to end across your entire library. And again, just to reiterate, nobody at Mylio or Backblaze can see your stuff because it's fully encrypted. Your data is always private. Your stuff is yours. We feel super, super strongly about that. So how SecureCloud can fit into your 3-2-1 backup. The easiest way to think about this in terms of your media library is you have 2 vaults. That's going to be 2 local vaults that sit on your desk. So think 2 external hard drives, and you have your offsite copy with SecureCloud. That's it. So you have your 3-2-1. That gives you your 3 copies on at least 2 different types of media with 1 offsite. Your workflow stays exactly the same. All you have to do is add in SecureCloud. It's automated, so there's no extra steps, and setup is super, super easy. If you choose to add a different cloud service with Mylio Photos, you certainly have that option, but there is additional complication because you're working with a third party and the steps are not quite as simple and streamlined. So let me show you how to set this up because it's really, really quite simple. So the first thing you're going to do once you've already added Mylio Drive is you're going to go back into your dashboard and into devices, and you can either click add device or you can choose add a vault. Either one will work. And the reason I have both of those highlighted is because if you want to set it up as something other than a vault, maybe you want to use that sync collection to only sync certain things, go ahead and click the add button. Or if you know you want to set it up to hold your entire library, just go ahead and say add vault. That tells Mylio you definitely want to put everything in that drive, and it just takes a couple of options out of the process and makes it nice and simple. Next thing you're going to do is select the device, and you're going to choose Mylio Drive Plus. And on the next screen, you're going to go ahead and choose a plan. And this is where you'll be redirected to the Mylio website to choose whether you want to buy a 2 terabyte or a 5 terabyte plan. It does offer you the option to buy it monthly or annually. There's no price difference. And in general, I'm going to recommend that people do this on a monthly basis because your needs for your plan might change over time. So initially you might need a 2 terabyte, later you might need the 5 terabyte, and maybe you buy the 5 terabyte and you decide I don't need that much. I want to use SyncCollections and not use as much. You can go ahead and drop that down to the 2 and so forth. So you have a little bit more flexibility. So at this point, you go ahead and choose a plan, you get redirected to the website, and you can go ahead and make that purchase. Follow the on-screen instructions, you'll then be redirected back to the app, and everything should be good to go. So what you can do with SecureCloud is, I mentioned, store specific things. You don't have to put everything into the cloud, which is really nice. Maybe your library is huge. Maybe you've got 10, 15 terabyte library. Some people do. And that can be really cost prohibitive if you're thinking about having to put everything into the cloud. So what you can do is maybe you have things in your library that you've rated and starred at 4 and 5 stars, and those are the things that are the most important and best. You can go ahead and tell Mylio, only put things that are 4 and 5 stars up there, only things with specific labels, or everything in these folders, not so important. It's stuff I like and I don't really want to lose, but this stuff over here is critical. So let's only make sure the critical stuff gets put into SecureCloud. You have a lot of different ways that you can fragment this and be very specific about what you're putting into the cloud. So choose a subset, your favorites, important family history stuff, anything that is really critical that you don't want to lose. So that's where we come to SyncCollections. And this is what makes selective syncing possible. They're flexible and very, very simple. Let me go ahead and show you how to set that up. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to Mylio. And this is my Mylio library that you guys are looking at. I'm going to go over here to the dashboard and over to devices. And I'm going to go down to my Mylio Drive Plus. So I already have this added. Right now it's added as a vault, but maybe I want to minimize the amount of storage, or taking a look at this, okay, I'm getting up a little bit closer to my max for my plan that I currently have. Maybe I don't want to have everything there. So I can go into my device sync policies and I can change this to a different sync policy. So in this case, let's go ahead and just say optimize images. And let's go ahead and say yes and apply changes. That will change that. The next thing I can do is say add sync collection. And that's where I go in and decide what I specifically want to include in that offsite backup. So maybe I want to make sure that my main photos hierarchy, so where I keep all of the stuff that I take with my big photo, I want to make sure that gets put in there. And I also want to make sure that it's stuff that's just 4 and 5 stars. I don't need to have everything in that hierarchy, just the absolute best stuff. So once I've done that, I can go ahead and say done, name this, and I can say best photos and save. And now I have a sync collection saying that I want to sync just those items to Mylio. Once you have that all set, you click apply changes, and that's going to go ahead and switch the storage on that and make sure that only those specific things are there. If it's less than what it was taking up before, it'll free up that additional space. So if you're starting to run low on space, SyncCollections can help you with that as well. So some of the real world use cases for using something like Mylio Drive Plus and SecureCloud is travel. I love to travel. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I really don't like having to travel with a ton of hard drives and things like that. Oftentimes, when I'm on the road, I do have work that I need to do. Have clients that might need pictures. Maybe I want to keep up on my social media, but I don't want to always have to bring so much gear. And Mylio Drive Plus with Secure Cloud lets me access those full quality original files while I'm out and about, whether it's across town or around the world, to get to those files when I need them. It is really a game changer for anyone who's traveling. The other thing here that's cool is if you've got a good connection while you're traveling, you can actually be backing up your stuff to Secure Cloud while you're on the road. So it's really going to be dependent on how fast your connection speeds are at various places. I've stayed places that have amazing internet, and I've stayed places that have, it's barely a trickle of data that's coming through, and I'm faster actually just connecting on my phone's data plan. So it really can depend, but you do have the possibility that you could be backing your things up to the cloud to an offsite copy while you're traveling. So at night, what I like to do when I'm traveling is offload all of my pictures of the day onto my iPad or my laptop, whatever it is I'm traveling with, and then plug it into power, have Mylio running, and let it run overnight. That gets a lot of that stuff uploaded to the cloud. And then that way I know that at least if something happened to all my gear while I was traveling, at least some of my pictures are backed into the cloud and offsite and safe. So I highly recommend this if you are someone who likes to travel. The other real world case here is disaster recovery. If one device fails, you don't lose anything. If your vault is destroyed, you can always restore from Secure Cloud. It doesn't take any big technical skills to make this happen. So if something happens at home, everything you stored in Secure Cloud is safe and recoverable. You can go ahead and grab a new hard drive, grab a new computer, log into your Mylio account, download the software, and everything will start syncing and all of your pictures will start coming back into your computer. And that, knowing that I can do that is such a huge weight off my shoulders that I think that's worth its weight in gold right there. Just knowing that if the worst happens, you're protected. Personally, I live on the edge of a nature preserve. I'm in Southern California. I'm sure you've heard about the horrendous wildfires that happen in this, area of the world. It's always something that's on our minds. And, I was talking to Lori earlier before this. In the past, if something bad happens and you have to leave your house in a hurry, your photo albums are often one of the first things you're going to grab. Later on, it became you're going to grab that hard drive and computer. Now, I don't have to necessarily worry about those things because I know I've got those offsite copies. I certainly will grab them if I have time, but it's one less thing that I have to feel is critical to grab in an emergency situation. Also, everyday convenience. So, again, if you're just out and about doing life things, talking to friends, sharing with family, having Mylio Secure Cloud makes it very easy to share because you can access your originals remotely, again, from wherever you are. You can be at your friend's house having dinner and remember the time we went to whatever it was. You can pull up those pictures and you can even grab those full-size originals to share them with them on the spot if you need to. And you don't have to leave your computer at home on and running 24/7. Without having a cloud option with Mylio, in order to have that peer-to-peer connection work between your devices, you do have to leave a computer on. But when you add in Mylio Drive Plus and Secure Cloud, that requirement goes away. And this is really great for using phones and tablets while you're out and about. It just gives a great quality of life improvement for most users. So, who should add Secure Cloud? This is great for people who want to implement a full 3-2-1 backup procedure. If you don't already have this going with another method, so you might have Mylio going 2 vaults, you're using Time Machine, and maybe you're using Backblaze computer backup. There's a lot of different ways to have a 3-2-1 backup, but to protect all of your stuff, if you want to make sure Mylio is doing that job, doing Mylio Secure Cloud is a great way to do that. If you are someone who needs to have full resolution access anywhere and everywhere, you absolutely want to add Mylio Secure Cloud. If privacy and encryption are important to you, other cloud services do give you a lot of that full res access everywhere. It can be a great backup, but you will want to check those services to make sure they are offering you the privacy and encryption that you're expecting. A lot of times, especially when it comes to free storage, the thing you have to remember is if it's free or very cheap, you are the product. And it often means that they're using your data to train AIs and to sell you things. So keep that in mind. Mylio's SecureCloud is very safe, very private, and offers full encryption. SecureCloud is great for anybody who wants a simpler workflow with fewer devices running, so you don't have to leave that computer on and running at home all the time. It just makes life easy. The other reason here that you might want to add SecureCloud is that we are actively expanding what SecureCloud can do. Some of these advanced features will require SecureCloud due to encryption. I can't go into a lot of details about this, but come this summer or maybe fall of this year, there are going to be some additional benefits to having SecureCloud that will be very, very beneficial. So keep that in mind as you make this decision. If you're already using another cloud with Mylio, something like OneDrive, Google, or S3, you can keep using it if it's working well for you today. So don't feel like you have to change if you're using a different cloud solution with Mylio. If things are going well for you, you don't need to change it. If you're using it for backup or single account syncing, that's great. If you're on a family plan or a team plan, Mylio Drive Plus is really a better option for a variety of reasons, and feel free to reach out to us for those particular situations. It's especially going to be important moving forward, again, with those advanced features that I mentioned a moment ago. For family and team plans, the secure cloud storage is going to be very, very important. The last thing is you need to be comfortable managing storage outside of Mylio. We've done a lot to make Secure Cloud very easy to set up, very user-friendly. If you are using one of these outside cloud services, especially S3, it's a bit more complicated to set up, and you need to be comfortable managing those things. Also, if something happens to where there's a technical glitch, there's only so much we can do for third-party services. With Secure Cloud Mylio Drive Plus, it is our service, so we will be right on top of handling any issue that comes up. But if there's a problem with OneDrive or Google or any other S3 service you're using, we are very limited in how we can troubleshoot that because it's not ours. You might want to consider Secure Cloud if you have something else. If you want to have your offsite storage fully integrated with Mylio, you want to have fewer tools and simpler workflows, and you want future sharing or multi-account features, and you want Mylio managed encryption and recovery. So there's a lot of things to consider here. Mylio Drive Plus and Secure Cloud are a great fit for a lot of people, but it might not be exactly what you need today. So keep that in mind. We're not trying to get you to sign up if it's not a good fit, but for a lot of people, it can really make a huge quality of life improvement. So adding Secure Cloud, we do have a coupon code for you guys here today. If you enter SC10 webinar at checkout, you can save 10%. And it is an add-on to Mylio Photos Plus, so you do need to have an active Mylio Photos Plus subscription, and then you add on the Secure Cloud subscription to that. Plans scale to fit your needs, so it starts out at 2 terabytes a month for $11.98, and you can jump up to 5 terabytes and then in 5 terabyte increments after that if necessary. It doesn't need to match your full library size. Let me just reiterate that. If those prices at 5 terabytes seems like a lot, and maybe your library is 3, that might be a really good case to get a 2 terabyte plan and use SyncCollections to narrow down what you're actually uploading. Videos can take up a lot of space. Maybe you just want to upload only your photos. Maybe you just want to upload only your 4 and 5 stars or everything that you have a specific color label on. You have full control, so don't feel like everything needs to go to the cloud, but this does allow you to put your most important things in the cloud in a safe and secure encrypted fashion. So let's go ahead and put these pieces together. I've thrown a lot of terminology at you today, and I just want to make sure that all of these things are clear. Mylio Photos is the application you're using to organize and manage your photo library. It's the app that's on your computer, your phones, your tablets. Mylio Photos Plus is the subscription service that's associated with the application, and that unlocks things like syncing, letting your devices talk to each other, syncing to vaults, and Mylio Drive for the syncing of those optimized images. A vault, in case anybody here doesn't know, is any device, a drive or a cloud, that holds a complete copy of your Mylio Photos library. So you can have a computer that has a ton of storage that's a vault. You can have an external drive. You can have a network attached storage. You can have a cloud. Any of those things can be designated as a vault, and that's just any device that holds your entire library. Mylio Drive is the service that comes with Mylio Photos Plus, the subscription, to sync all of those optimized images, making your library easy to browse on all of your devices. It also really speeds up setting up new devices. SecureCloud is our actual storage. That's what we call the offsite storage for originals that protects your full resolution photos, videos, and documents. And Mylio Drive Plus, once you add that secure cloud storage, Mylio Drive, what you see in the devices section of your dashboard, becomes Mylio Drive Plus. Let me just show that to you here really quick. Here's my Mylio Drive Plus. If I didn't have an active subscription, it would just say Mylio Drive. So that is what you're going to see. We kind of use the words Mylio Drive Plus and Secure Cloud interchangeably, but Secure Cloud is the storage itself. Mylio Drive Plus is what you see when you're in the Mylio Photos app. So hopefully that makes sense. If you guys have any questions on that terminology, please let us know. We'll do our best to get those answered. So just to kind of recap things, what we want for you is to be able to design a system based on the 3-2-1 rule. There are many different ways you can go about doing this. And we think a great way to do it is using Secure Cloud and Mylio Drive Plus. It makes it very, very simple, but there's a lot of different ways to accomplish this. Really what you want to do is just focus on having at least 3 copies of your data on at least 2 different types of devices with one of them offsite. And that offsite component is super, super critical. It doesn't have to be the cloud. The cloud is one great way to do that. It's an excellent tool for it. But maybe you have, a remote place that you work, someplace that's physically different than where your home is, or vice versa, and you can have a computer there with a vault. That's one way to have an offsite copy. So there's many ways to get this done, but keep that in mind and try to design a system that gives you that 3-2-1, because offsite backup is really essential. And I don't feel like I can even emphasize that enough. Having myself been, I don't want to say victim, but because it was pretty self-inflicted, because I didn't have things set up. I have had data loss before, and it's very scary. It's very expensive, very stressful, and I don't want that for any of you. Mylio Drive Plus adds privacy and full resolution storage. So by adding on that Mylio Drive Plus Secure Cloud storage, you get the opportunity to put all of your full resolution images into the cloud and have them accessible from all of your devices, regardless of where you are, as long as you've got an internet connection. SyncCollections give you that precise control. So if you don't want to put everything in the cloud, you certainly don't have to. You can pick and choose to put only your best, most important things there to keep them very secure. So Secure Cloud equals confidence, convenience, and protection. So with that, let's go ahead and jump to our giveaway. I'm going to go ahead and ask Lori to do a quick randomization. And for everybody who's here right now, we're going to see who won a year of 2 terabyte storage.
Great. So I did a random generator and it picked a number, and the winner is Lee Hammond. So Lee Hammond, congratulations. If you could go ahead and you can just email me directly, I'll send you the coupon code for that free year of Secure Cloud, Lori@mylio.com. Okay. And also, if you could go ahead and do that, or you could put your email privately to me in chat, and I'll contact you directly. Anyway, congratulations.
Awesome. Congratulations, Lee. Hope that's useful for you. And I'd like to, at this point, go ahead and open up the floor for questions. I know Lori and JC have been busy covering a lot of that, so I'm not sure what else we have left here. Taking a look here at the Q&A.
There's a few in the Q&A that we left for you.
Okay, I'll take a look at those. All right, so if I only have Mylio Drive, you say that doesn't store maximum quality info files, although Mylio Photos Plus does. Does that mean that with those photos on Mylio Drive are not returned at full maximum quality to your own computer? Yeah, that's correct. So the way that that works is Mylio Drive, without the plus, without Secure Cloud, is only storing optimized images. And we do that to help facilitate syncing between devices, giving you a really good viewing and browsing experience, because maybe on your smaller quality devices or your smaller storage devices, you might not have room to locally store the optimized files for everything in your library. And that enables you to be able to pull down from the cloud very quickly higher quality files that are about 5% the size of the original to that device, but they view really well. You can zoom in, you can take a look at them. They look great on most devices, but it's really meant for an enhanced browsing experience. And if you ended up having only Mylio Drive and local storage and all of your local storage became compromised, if you tried to restore from that, you would only have the optimized quality files. You would not have your full quality files. So if you want to store offsite quality files, you have to purchase a SecureCloud subscription to go along with that. Or you can use Google Drive, OneDrive, any S3 storage. Or if you have another physical location, such as a place of work or someplace else, maybe a family member's house that you can set up a computer, there are other ways to do offsite. But through Mylio, you do need to have a SecureCloud subscription for that full quality offsite storage. All right. So the sync policy, next question here. The sync policy you selected in the example was best photos, but when you were finished, it was not clearly shown as your selection and said it showed or between that and the other choice. Is there no clear indication? Well, let's go ahead and pop back over here because I didn't actually save it. Right now, because I haven't set anything else, I can go ahead and check off that everything. You're right, I should have unchecked that. The reason it had everything is because I had it set as a vault before. So go ahead and take that off and then best photos, apply those changes, and that would go ahead and do that correctly. Good catch. All right. From Cindy, I'm also interested in Emil's question that she put in chat. Does SyncCollections only work with optimized images or selected originals as well? So Cindy, if you have a SecureCloud subscription, so if you have the where it says Mylio Drive Plus, and you've added that SecureCloud storage, you can choose whether it's the optimized or originals. So that's completely up to you. And I actually was in the wrong tab there. So I had chosen optimized images. I would need to be here in originals. So that's on me. I messed up what I was clicking on the screen there. But the SyncCollections only work with optimized, but no, it works with originals or optimized. You choose. All right, and Ted says, please repeat how Mylio Secure Cloud gives me fewer tools and simpler workflows. Yeah, so what it eliminates having to configure a third-party cloud service with Mylio and having to have another third-party service that you have to pay and deal with. So you would have one billing through Mylio as opposed to having multiple services that you have to deal with. It's also very streamlined. Adding in Mylio is very simple. It's just a few clicks and then it's done, and Mylio takes care of everything behind the scenes. If you're using another third-party service, especially if you're doing it outside of Mylio Photos, the setup can be certainly more complex. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, Angela, take a look in chat. We're kind of getting a few extras in there. I think start with JC did a couple of them. How about Alan Smith? Can you
Yep.
see that? So
Okay, I'm getting confused. I thought I could restore full resolution from a vault, which says they are full resolution. Did I get that wrong? Alan, no, you're absolutely right. If you have a vault, that's typically going to be, and it can be a cloud vault, it can be an external drive, it can be another computer, anything that's large enough to hold your full library. If you have a vault, you can absolutely restore from your vault. When you would need SecureCloud and that offsite copy is if your main primary location, such as your home, there was a natural disaster or a burglary or something like that. If your location got compromised and you lost those particular files, those drives and devices, having an offsite copy like SecureCloud would allow you to do that disaster recovery. But if you have a local vault and you have, so let's say you have two vaults sitting on your desk, one of them fails, you can absolutely restore from the other vault. All right. Gary's asking, is there an annual payment plan for Mylio Drive Plus? Yes, you can choose to pay either monthly or annually. Let's see here. Looks like all the other questions have been answered. Is there anything else that I missed?
I think we have everything. If we missed anybody, go ahead and just post in either Q&A or in this case, go ahead and put it in chat.
All right. All right, everyone. Thank you again for being here. Please feel free to message me in the community.mylio.com, and I will be happy to answer any other questions. Have a great day.